Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our next Out of the Box meeting. And Nina was supposed to do this talk closer to the Dasera, but she was very kind enough to postpone it to now because we had to accommodate some other speakers and date issues, etc. So Nina was very kind. Otherwise, this would have been around Dasera time. And she has prepared a wonderful presentation. It's a totally different point of view, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy. So over to you, Nina.
Yes. So good evening to all of you. And today's my topic is learnings from a mythological character, Ravan. So Ravan is the prime antagonist character in the epic Ramayana. Ravan, the king of Lanka, had many qualities that made him a learned scholar. Although Ravana usurped Lanka, he had been a benevolent and effective ruler. Lanka flourished under his rule, and Ravan had proceeded on a series of campaigns, conquering humans, celestials, and demons. And most of the people are not aware of his background, his conquests, and his erudite knowledge. Ravan was well versed in the 6 Shastras and 4 Vedas. So Ravan is considered is the most revered devotee of Shiva. Now here are some characteristics of Ravana. So Ravan, we all know, was a great warrior, the genius, the intellectual. He was emperor of Lanka. He was so knowledgeable and he was well versed in 6 Shastras, 4 Vedas, and 18 Puranas. He was a great astrologer. He was a famous Ayurveda Pandit. He wrote great books like Ravan Samhita. He was expert in 64 forms of art. He was a great devotee of Shiva, and he was a great composer who composed most powerful Shiva Tandava Stotram. He was also an excellent Veena player, and he was a musician too. So on a personal background, his parents, his father was named as Vishwara and mother Kaikasi. His siblings were Kumbhakarna, Vibhishana, Shurpanakha, and spouses were Mandodari and Dhanya Malini. The children which he had, Indrajit, Atikaya, Akshay Kumara, Narantaka, Devantaka, Tishira. So when Ravana was born to his parent, actually his mother one day told Rishi Vishwara that she would have given birth to 10 sons had he not been meditating for so long. So Rishi Vishwara replied to his wife that he would give her such a son who would have 10 heads to compensate for the loss. So thus Ravana was born with 10 heads and 20 arms. And he was named Dashamukha. Now, a demon, Dashamukha, had 10 heads, and as per mythology, the 10 head represent his 10 qualities, which are Kama, lust, Krodha, anger, Moha, delusion, Lobh, greed, Mada, pride, Matsar, envy, Manas, mind, Buddhi, intellect, Chitta, will, and Ahamkara, the ego. So Ravana was, we know that now he was born to a great sage, Vishwaswara, and his wife, Princess Kaikasi. Now, Princess Kaikasi was a daughter of a Rakshas. Hence, Ravana was half demon and half Brahmin. Vishwaswara sage had 2 wives. His first wife was called Varavarini, and with her, Vishwaswara sage had a son called Kubera, who was the earlier god of wealth, king of Lanka. His second wife was named Kaikasi, who was a Rakshasi, And with her, sage Vishweswara had three sons, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Vibhishana, and one daughter, Shurpanakha. Ravan and Kumbhakarna performed penance and got miraculous powers from Lord Brahma, and they drove out Kuber to occupy the golden kingdom of Lanka. He also usurped his golden Pushpak Viman. It is said that Pushpak Viman, which was the aircraft, could take different shapes and could travel at the speed of wind. Now, when Ravana did penance to Brahma, he got a boon for immortality from Lord Brahma. But Ravan politely declined that boon, saying that his life would be concentrated at his navel, that is Nabhi. Ravana had got a boon from Lord Brahma that no god, no demon, no kinnar, or no Gandharv could ever kill him. He did not seek the boon for protection from human beings. And it was Ram as a human who ultimately slayed Ravan. Now, Ravana's brother Vibhishana, a devotee of Rama, knew this. And on the 10th day of the battle, he told Ram that strike the arrow at Ravan's navel, which is Nabi, to kill demon. And that's how the Ravana was killed. Now, once Ravana was trying to dislodge Mount Kailash, on which Lord Shiva was meditating. Shiva pressed the mountain with his toe, crushing Ravan's forearm. As Ravan let out the blood-curdling screams in agony, he came to be known as Ravan, which means the one who screams. So this is how he was known as Ravana. It was then that Ravana became the greatest devotee of Lord Shiva and composed Shiva Tandav Stotram. Shiva Tandav Stotram is a hymn of praise in Hindu tradition that describes Shiva's power and beauty. It is believed that Ravan composed the Stotram in praise for Shiva and pleading for moksha. Both the fourth and the fifth quadrant of this hymn conclude with the lists of Shiva's epithets as destroyer, even the destroyer of death itself. In the final quatrain of the poem, after rampaging across the earth, Ravana asks, "When will I be happy?" Because of the intensity of his prayers and his ascetic meditation, of which this hymn was an example, Ravana received from Shiva powers and a celestial sword called Chandrahas. Now I have this Shiva Tandava Stotram, which I am playing just now.
Nina,
Yes.
I don't think that is audible to all, huh? So it is better
Okay,
not.
so shall I cut short?
Yeah, cut it short and you go
Okay,
on
we'll
with
go
your
to
talk.
the next slide. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in Hindu mythology, we all know Ravan is portrayed as a strong demon king who abducted Sita and kept her in his Ashok Vartika. He made several approaches to pursue Sita to agree to come to his bed. Despite several persuasions and proposals, Sita didn't agree. Hence, he couldn't touch her, fearing his own death due to the curse he had from a celestial damsel. The curse was, if he ever attempts to ravish an unwilling woman, his head would explode into 1,000 fragments. Ravan Samhita is written by Asura king of Lanka, Ravan himself. It is a compilation of secrets and rules revealed by Lord Shiva himself to Ravan. Ravan Samhita is the famous book of Tantra Mantra, Yoga, Jyotish, Hindu medicine, and worship of Shiva. Now, as we have temples of God and Goddess, there are temples of Ravan, not only in India, but outside India, like in Sri Lanka, Malaysia. Now, in India, in various states, there are temples of Ravan, which is Dashanana Temple in Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, Ravan Mandir, Bisrak, Greater Noida in Uttar Pradesh, Kakinada Ravan Temple in Andhra Pradesh, Ravan Gram Ravan Temple Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh, Mandasur Madhya Pradesh, Mandor Ravan Temple in Jodhpur, Baijnath Temple Kangra District, Himachal Pradesh. So here in these temples, Ravan is worshipped like a god. Now, when Ravan was killed by Ram, Ram sent his brother Lakshman to learn lessons from Ravan when Ravan was nearing his death. And there are some teachings that Ravana gave to Lakshman. And these teachings are nothing but the art of statecraft and diplomacy. And the learnings were, do the good things sooner and avoid doing bad things as far as possible. Keep your close ones even closer. Do not be their enemy, as they can harm you anytime. Never assume you're always the winner, even when you're winning most of the time. You should trust the minister who criticizes you. Don't underestimate your enemy, thinking they are weak, small, or powerless. Destiny cannot be outsmarted. Stars will bring you what you are destined to. A king who's eager to win glory must suppress greed as soon as it lifts its head. Secret should be kept secret. Don't reveal your secrets to anyone. Now, Vibhishana knew Ravana's secret, which he revealed to Ram, due to which Ravan got killed. So these were the lessons given to Lakshman by Ravan on his deathbed on advice of Ram. Ram knew that Ravan is a learned person. That is why he sent Lakshmana to dying Ravan. Now, what are the things that we should learn from Ravan? So these are the 10 things which I have shortlisted that we should learn from Ravan. The first one, stop seeing every woman as a sex object and respect her. Ravan once tried to rape Rambha, and she cursed him that he would die if he touched a woman without consent. The second thing to learn is never mock others without knowing who they are. Ravan once laughed at Nandi, at his bull face, who in turn cursed him that he would be killed cruelly and mercilessly by Vanaras. The third thing, don't underestimate anyone. Ravan performed penance to Brahma and acquired a boon that he would be killed by anyone except human, because he thought humans were not powerful enough to fight with him. The fourth thing, don't be arrogant and boastful. When Ravan found Vedavati performing penance to Vishnu to have him as her husband, he mocked her and grabbed her by hair. She got incensed, forthwith cut off her hair and entered into the fire while cursing him that she would be the reason for his death. The fifth one, don't eye others' properties. Ravan fought with never underrate someone's power without knowing what he is. Ravan once tried to mischievously grab Vali from behind while he was offering prayers to sun god Sandhya Vandana. Knowing Ravan was behind him, Vali grabbed Ravana's leg and held him captive under his armpit and traveled long distances while Ravana was choked and nearly died. Seventh, never develop lust towards someone's wife. We all know what happened after Ravan abducted Sita. Eighth, listen. When someone is advising, at least care to listen. Following that advice is secondary. We know how Ravan cut off Vibhishana's words when he tried to advise him. Ninth, know when to stop. Kill the ego when you can't fight anymore. Ravan abducted Sita. Ram waged a war against him. He constructed a bridge up to Lanka. He killed all the warriors from Ravan's side. His brother Kumbhakarna was killed. His sons were killed. His ministers were killed. Even then, he wouldn't release Sita. This led to his own destruction finally. And the last 10th lesson is repent for your mistakes. Even after knowing that he made a mistake by kidnapping Sita, he would not apologize to Ram because it hurts his ego. He would have saved his life if he did so. So according to my thinking, we all have Ravan inside us. We do good deeds and lose those good deeds on ego. One must deter the bad actions as much as one can. One must do good actions without any delay and as early as you can. Ravan became egoistic and stubborn, thinking himself to be the best and better than everybody, due to which his destruction was necessary. Ravan's last words before his death were, Jai Shri Ram, as he understood the mistakes of his life and he apologized the last minute to Lord Ram. Since then, Dashera stands for killing of all evils of our soul, which was represented by 10 heads of Ravan. So, in short, Ram is our soul. Sita is your heart. Ravan is your mind that steals your heart from your soul. Lakshman is your consciousness, always with you and active on your behalf. Hanuman is your intuition and courage that helps retrieve your heart to reanimate your souls. Thank you.
Fantastic, Nina. That was very good.
Thank you.
Presentation of various points which we have to take home from the life of Ravana. Now,
Yes.
what I will do is request Amit, you unmute everybody. Okay, and all those who want, the floor is open for questions. So all those who want to ask questions, please raise your thumb like that, and then we can you can ask a question. So,
Sangeeta,
Dr. Yes.
I would like to have views from.
Ma'am, I have given the option to unmute. Everybody can unmute themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Ma'am,
you can get views and you
Meena ma'am, you can unmute yourself. Mute करें.
Now there is somebody who has a lot of vehicular traffic noise in the background. So I request that person to mute himself or herself. Okay. Yeah.
Nina,
So
wonderful.
now let us have a disciplined discussion, because on Zoom 2 people can't speak. So first I saw the thumb from Dr. Aspi Raimalwala.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, Dr. Aspi, please go ahead.
Nina, wonderful, very nice.
Thank you.
Years back, even the Ravana knew that you don't let out your secret. You understand?
Yes.
And what are the secrets these days? Your PIN number and your password.
Yes.
You never leave out your password and PIN number to anybody, you know. And
Right.
Ravana was smart enough to know even years and centuries back that once upon a time, in the future, the PIN number and the password will come, you know.
Correct.
Second, I would like to know that Sita was abducted. You understand? Now, you know how powerful the Sita was. When Sita was very young, she used to play with the Dhanush, making a horse out of it. And that Dhanush was used as to shoot the fish during her Swayamvar, that whosoever can shoot the fish by looking into the shadow of water, that king or that mighty person will marry her. Those strongest of the people could even lift that Dhanushya, which Sita as a small child used to play around with. So Sita was that strong, and still she could not fight with Ravana. Why? So that was the question which was there. If you can answer, otherwise I will. Somebody had answered this question. Some people whom I taught years when I was a small boy. As usual, I was very curious and I used to ask questions to everybody. This was asked by me to one fellow who was giving a lecture on this, Rama and Ravana. So he said that Sita would have easily fought Ravana.
Correct.
You
Correct.
understand? Then she would not have been abducted. But looking at his bad deeds and all, the Ram decided that Ravan should be destroyed. But the Ram being a Ram, he was a Lord. He cannot destroy anybody without a reason. So he wanted a reason to destroy the Ram. And that's why he allowed Sita to be abducted. And when he tried wrong things and everything, then the Ram attacked Ravana and the Ravan was killed by the Ram. Otherwise, Sita would not have been that easily abducted by the Ravana.
Yeah, correct. You're right. Sita herself was a goddess. She, in a human nature, she was a goddess and she had all the powers. She was very powerful. Ravana has got one more cursing. Ravana had killed one king of Dashratha, Dashratha's clan, you know, and while dying, he had given cursing to Ravana that Dashratha's putra, Ram, will be responsible to kill you. So he will kill you. And this was all destined. So when the sins were, you know, he had completed all his sins and his destiny was to get killed from the god himself. And not only Ravan himself, but whole of his clan got killed except Vibhishan. Everyone got killed by Ram at the hand of God. So that was destined to happen.
He was expert at playing even Veena. Bipin Pandit, तेरा वाइफ का नाम वीणा है, तो तेरा ग्रुप में उसको गाने को बुलाना बनता है.
Okay, Dr. Satish Tibrewala wants to ask a question, I think. So,
No, I want to correct Aspi.
Yes, yes.
Aspi you are getting mixed up between Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly, correct.
क्यों?
See, that Dhanusha was not used to
Correct.
kill
It
the...
was for Draupadi and Arjun.
Yeah.
Okay. So very good. Now, Dr. Bipin Pandit, what would you would like to say something? You were also raising your hand.
Yeah. I want to say something that
Please.
see, all our mythological stories are very, very controversial, and I sometimes fail to understand. I'll give you one parallel example. When Krishna's mama Kans, he knew that his sister's son, its son or something, he is going to kill him. Still, he kept both husband and wife in the same prison. And he started killing all the previous siblings. Yes. So this is something which is such a great king counts. The same thing, Ravana has made a lot of mistakes. He had a bad drushti for all the girls and all the ladies and Ramba and all. He tried to rape. And when he was cursed, still he did not improve.
Okay, so
What is the reason? Another thing is when he was so balwan, he was so strong, and a Vanar like Wali, he could choke him. All these things are little contradictory, according to me.
now, before we go ahead, I am very proud and very happy to welcome Dr. Shirish Sheth. He is one of the most senior people around, and he has joined the meeting today. So, Nina, you can take it as a Diwali blessing. And not
Sure.
only that, even Dr. Usha Krishna and Dr.
Yes.
Usha Saraya, they
Yes.
are the senior most people, and they are
I'm
here.
blessed.
Really proud for you. Have to be proud that they are there to listen to you. So,
Yes.
sir, welcome very much. And please don't leave the platform without sharing your comments and views. And same for Dr. Usha Krishna and Dr. Usha Saraya.
Even Dr. Jaru Bhadra has joined. Now, very wonderful. Such a senior person.
And Dr. Palep is also here. So, does anybody have a question? I have a comment to make, Nina.
I have a
talk
comment to
about-
make. Sangeeta, when you have time, I have a comment.
Arey, madam, I was missing you so much, but I couldn't
I
see.
raised my hand half an hour back.
The heart of this meeting. So, okay, you please go ahead, make your comment. How can
I just want, okay, I just want to say that what Bipin said as far as the
can't
mythological.
talk anything till you put on your video. I don't know
करूं?
to see. Put on your video.
Okay.
We have to see you.
Okay, well, not much to look at just now.
You
But
know, you're
anyway, we
just looking, so you please put on your video.
okay.
And till you
The thing is that we, like Bipin said, mythological stories have a lot of anecdotes, lot of legitimate storyline, but all the time it has been connected to the human mind, the human soul, and I think that is the crux or the method or the message of all these mythological stories. If you look at it, so I think that is what we should look at as far as mythological stories are concerned, and not the events as to who killed whom or who raped whom. This is my feeling.
This is probably
Was I audible?
this
You
is
are audible, but we can't see you. So it's like a ghost talking to us.
Audible but invisible.
this is what is classically described.
Now we can see you, madam.
Okay. So I feel that it is the parallel of the thing where we have to look at our soul, look at our mind, look at our insights, and then that is the purpose of these mythological stories, is my opinion.
Okay, great. Nina, do you want to make a comment on that?
Now that I am visible.
Because my last slide said so, no? Ram is your Ram. What is Ram represent? What is? Do you remember my last slide, or shall I show again?
That's exactly why I said it's
Show
true
again,
in
show again.
every mythological story of a
Good.
I would like to say, Nina, that in the whole this just started screen share. Okay.
Ram is your soul, you said.
Ram is your soul.
see.
and
Soul.
Sita
So,
is your heart.
This is my last slide, which actually you should take it as as it is. So Ram is your soul. Sita is your heart. Ravan is your mind that steals your heart
Correct.
from your soul.
correct.
Lakshman is your consciousness, always with you and active on your behalf. And Hanuman is your intuition and courage that helps retrieve your heart to reanimate your soul.
best
Beautiful.
slide, Nina.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
So there are many examples in the whole Ramayana with relevance to Ravan, where there are certain take-home points. For example, that see, he's so powerful. He could actually pick up Sita from the shores on the Indian side and take her to Lanka, and he kept her in the Vatika. Like you said, he did not touch her till she was until she agreed to come to his palace. She was always in the garden. At the same time, it is important to note that he did not cross the Lakshman Rekha. Okay, if he could abduct her from this side, he was probably powerful enough to cross the Lakshman Rekha also and take her away from the other side, correct? Secondly, in spite of knowing that his brother has, given away his secrets and has joined the opposite army, he did not harm his own brother. That also is an important this, that at the end of the day, he still maintained his family values and he could have easily killed Vibhishan, but he did not do that. So there are, what I suggest is, this topic came to my mind because there is a very nice play called Ravan Ki Ramayan. And in that it is by some Mr. Kaushik and it is a stage drama. And the Ravan ka character is played by a hero called Puneet Isar. And it is a fantastic drama. And you, if you ever get a chance to see it, absolutely everybody must see it, because you will think you need to see that drama at least few times, 4 to 5 times, to be able to take home all the messages that they want to give you. So it is a very mind-boggling drama, very well presented and explained so beautifully. I have not seen a drama which is so well presented. So anyway, and now I think Dr. Palep was raising his thumb. He
Yeah.
wants to make a comment. Then Dr. Ajit Virkud, after him, it's your turn.
Okay. Sangeeta, you said Lakshman Rekha. What is the significance of Lakshman Rekha? Needs to be understood in terms. There were, two types of laws in those days. One was law of civilization. The other was a jungle law. So whosoever is mighty, he had a right to do whatever he can in a jungle law. But that did not apply. The Lakshman Rekha was that Rekha. Once the woman crossed that Rekha into jungle, the jungle law applied to that. So therefore, whatever Ravan was doing, he was doing politically very correct. So though ethically may not be correct, so that is how you must view. And most importantly, all our mythology is meant for us. It is the moral of the story, not the story is important, but the moral of the story, we need to catch on the moral of the story. And that's very, very important. And here in the last slide, which was shown by Nina, was wonderful. And that's how we must, look at the whole Ramayana the way that we should. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sangeeta, can I say a few words?
Dr. Virkud.
Yeah, okay. So, first of all, Nina, a wonderful presentation, but I joined a little late, so I have not seen your slide. But I want to, so whatever I am asking, you might have already shown. But I feel there is one more lesson which is a very fundamental lesson, which is useful even today, from which you can take from this Ramayana story. By the way, I always say Ramayana, Ravan. See, we are Hindus. We don't say Ravana. There's no Ravana. It is Ravan. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is the story. The one takeaway from Ramayana from me, or many people have said it is not my original, is that whenever there is business, okay, whatever in your family, when from your family becomes fitur. If you see, all wars have been lost. In Shivaji's case, many times he lost because somebody from his own side became a fitur and went on the side. This is what happened. Ram would never have died if his brother had not told that his only by his.
Madam Vandana, please mute yourself. Madam Vandana, please mute yourself. Yeah,
Okay.
now, sir, please go on.
Yeah, sorry. So according to me, one important takeaway from this is whenever there is some sort of war or whatever, even it may be even it doesn't have to be physical war where you kill, but even some sort of tussle over. When there are two parties at war, or war in inverted commas, most of the time you will lose when somebody from your side becomes fitur and tells your weakness to other side, and they act on that weakness, and that is how you lose. You see, even suppose you have family fights in your family, you realize that somebody from your family told your secrets to the other side, and that is how you lost. This is a very, very important lesson to take from
Sir,
Ramayana. I don't know whether you
sir,
said.
I have shown this.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but I have shown this. And I've said that don't reveal your secrets to anyone.
Sorry, I didn't see. I joined late.
So that was my point.
Correct. So you said it. I agree with you.
I said it.
Yeah. So congratulations for that. Now, only one last point, which is a little controversial, and I always make some sort of statement like this. It's a very short thing, but don't take it politically. What I want to ask all of you is that a very fundamental question, which is it might invoke a little Hindu versus non-Hindu type of sentiments from you. But what I want to ask you is a very genuine question, even as a child. Do you think that Ravan, and all these things, or maybe even Mahabharata, what I want to ask all of you is, do you think these people were actually existed in this universe, or this is just mythology? I want to ask a very basic question. I don't know the answer. What do you think, Neena? Ram actually existed? Because they say, that Ram Setu, there's a link between that bridge. Those stones are already there between south of India and Sri Lanka. That bridge is there. All these politicians keep saying that actually no, and there's so much politics about Ram temple. But what I want to also forget the politics. I don't want the politics. Neena, do you think Ram actually existed in this universe, whatever 1,000 years back? Or it is just a mythology and no such person existed in this world, and they just want to teach you, whoever wrote Ramayana or even Mahabharata just wants to teach you about life, which you shared in your last slide. That is what my question to all of you. And Neena, you can answer first. What do you think?
According to me, it's a Hindu mythology.
But what do you mean by mythology?
Whether the characters existed or they have no existence, it is just thinking. It's all a controversial thing.
Yeah, I know. So
I have not done a research whether it was there or it was not there.
But no, you're not.
I have studied Hindu mythology.
Yeah,
Neena,
I treat it as a mythology.
May I answer for Neena, please?
Yeah.
Hello.
May I answer?
Each one has to take finish speaking, and then the second person has to speak.
Yeah. So I'll stop.
Virkud has made his question. Now Neena has responded. And
I will answer this question.
Make a comment, so please go ahead, sir.
I will answer this question. You see, most of us think mythology is a myth, but how many of you have read Ramayana by Valmiki in complete? Has anybody read that? No. The answer is most of you have not read. But having read Ramayana totally from page 1 to the last in this, you see that entire geography of India is, you can see in that. You can see the flora, fauna properly explained of different parts of the forest. Different rivers have been explained in Ramayana. If you have to say that Ramayana was not a fact but a fiction, I won't agree to that. But there can be some sort of exaggerations at the places. That's a different issue. The author has that leeway to do that. But mythology is not simply all myths. So therefore, one needs to not give up the things as they are. So my feeling is that people should read Ramayana in detail, and before they come to some conclusions like this, they should not come to wrong assumptions, I think. That's what is my feeling.
I totally agree with Dr. Palip, and even I have an answer to this question, Dr. Virkud, but I will keep quiet just now and let others speak. Okay. Danny wants to say something. So Danny, and after that, Dr. Laila Dave. Danny, go ahead.
Neena, excellent presentation. But there is another book by Anand Neelkanthan, which is known as Asur. It has a total different perspective of what Ravan is. In fact, in this novel, it shows that Sita was a daughter of Ravan. You should read this novel. It's a completely different book.
Padma Puran, it is written that Sita was the daughter of Ravana.
You're right.
Yes, you are right. You are right. And there is something called Jain mythology.
Yes, in Jain
Hindu mythology, there is Jain mythology where she is portrayed as his daughter. Sita is portrayed as Ravana's daughter in Jain mythology.
Yes, it is correct.
Okay.
Dr. Rao can agree, no? Yes.
Dr. Laila Dave, and after that, Dr. Sandhya Saharan.
Yeah, so what Dr. Palip said, that this is not just a mythology. So if you see in our own city, Walkeshwar, how this name came. When Ram was going back from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya, he stopped here. And since he used to pray to Lord Shiva and there was no Shiv temple, he created one from the sand. So it was Valuke Ishwar. And hence it is called Walkeshwar. So probably these people did exist many, many years ago. That's what I want to say.
Okay, great.
Excellent. Sandhya, please go ahead.
Yes, I would also like to reiterate that point that I have also been to Panchvati, where there is a Sita Gufa from where Sita was kidnapped. And we have seen that place in a lot of detail, and we've counted the 5 trees and everything. And it looks so realistic to what is described in the Ramayana. The exact place, it is so close to the description. And I think it is quite true because there are so many other instances and places which have, the kind of footmarks of the whole, as we say, mythology. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that this mythology is basically teachings. They are teachings by example. When we say Ramayana or Mahabharata, whatever has transpired, the essence is to send the message across that how good triumphs over evil. And even God finds it difficult to, it's not that it's his ultimate word. He has to lead by example. So this is what it shows, that how much struggle even God had to do, as we call him Maryada Purush, Ram. He himself had to endure so much suffering. The same goes even in Mahabharata. The Pandavas had to undergo so much suffering. They also have the Pandava caves in Nasik. So I think everything somewhere or the other connects. So I strongly believe that yes, it is true. I would not say it is just hearsay or something, That's my take on it.
Very good. Anybody else? What do anybody else think is real?
And this Setu also, I think in one of the TV program, I remember very vaguely that the Setu was shown underground, those rocks from India coast to the Sri Lankan coast.
Yes.
And it was then, the mythology had some conceptualized findings, which is found scientifically that there is something
Yes, yes.
existed during that time.
There are beautiful high resolution photographs taken there on the internet, and they do show that probably there is some evidence and it has gone underground, which is possible because so many Harappa and all these things have gone underground. So going underground, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So probably it did exist, that Setu from...
Ajit, you are right. There have been photographs of these stone things, like a path from Bombay, from India to Sri Lanka. These have been shown.
Yes, I've seen it, and they look quite authentic to me.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Now, anybody would like
Can
to
I
ask?
ask Sangeeta something?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I want to ask one basic question. Why Ravan tried to abduct Sita when there were so many beautiful ladies all over the world, India? He could have abducted anybody. You know the story? There's one story which I read. When Sita Swayamvar was happening, this Shivdhanusha was laid. And many kings from many countries came, and they could not even touch this thing. It was that heavy and very strong, Shivdhanusha. The Shivdhanusha with which Sita used to play when she was a child. That's the story. Ravan also was there. He wanted to marry Sita. He came, he tried to, and he fell down, and the Shivdhanusha was, it went on his chest.
Yes.
Yeah, and people laughed at him.
And Sita mainly laughed at him.
Yes.
So he wanted to take the revenge. That's why he came for Sita.
Yes. But sir, he has already raped so many wives of sages and damsel and all the other ladies also. So he has not touched only Sita. He, in his bad character,
because he was cursed.
he was cursed. He couldn't touch her.
See, many people try to glorify him, but there is no need to glorify him. He has made lots of mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Bipin, I'll take another view. You are absolutely right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I am saying is, see, whether it is you, me, everyone, there's a good in you and there's a bad in you. So same way with Ravan, there's a lot of bad and there's a lot of good. Now, Bipin, you are highlighting the bad of Ravan, and maybe Nina or others are highlighting the good of Ravan. So what my thing is, what my parents thought is, everybody has a good or bad in him. Take the good and leave the bad. So that is what probably Nina is doing in the presentation.
No, but the bad thing should not overtake the good thing.
Good and leaving is bad. Not that it doesn't exist or we don't agree with his bad things, but we are highlighting the good points of Ravan and try to learn something and whether we can imbibe those things in our lives. That is what we are trying to do. You understand? That is a perspective.
Every human character has some good things and some bad things. Now, good gets overshadowed by bad. So that's why the message was that try to do as less as possible the bad thing to others and try to do good things as fast and as early as possible.
Okay, sir. Now, Dr. Sheth, will you please take your comments? Please unmute yourself. Sir, we can't hear you because you have to unmute yourself. Sir, you have to unmute. Amit, sir ko unmute karo na.
Yes.
Hello, Amit, are you there? Okay, 1 minute. Let me see if I can unmute him.
Sir is on Sillu's.
He's unmuted.
Yeah.
No, the name, the name is that of my wife, so that's okay.
Now we can read that.
It is not. Let me listen to for a while. I'll make a comment. I'll tell you. Go on.
Sangeeta, you were going to say something. Say now. Sangeeta, you were saying something.
Arey, main to bolti rehti hu. Let me just see.
People love to listen to you, Sangeeta.
Yeah. Okay, so my comment was that yes, of course, all these characters and everything exists for all those reasons that Dr. Palep, Dr. Sandhya, Dr. Laila Dave mentioned. I don't think we should have any doubt that all of them existed. And even if somebody has any doubt, then they should read Ramayana from page 1 to from the first to the last page. Sir, I'm happy to say that I have read only 2 chapters fully, the Ayodhya chapter and the Sundarkand chapter fully in the original Big Fat Ramayana book. And if what Nina was giving in her message, the last slide, that at the end of the day, whether you have, believe it or not, but if you believe in the epic and you have read the epic or you have seen the original Ramayana, you should imbibe the Ram in your soul and the Sita in your heart. And I would like to change that Ravan is not in the mind. Ravan is only in your ego, because the mind can have a lot of positives and negatives. Correct. It is an ego in the mind where Ravan dwells, and that's where you have to kill him with all those 10 vices that he has. So lust and lobe, etc., etc. That is where we need to kill him. And at the end of the day, everybody will ask a question that, have you seen God? Okay, many people say, do you think God exists at the end of the day? So I very, very firmly say, yes, God exists. He is always around us, but we make the mistake in not recognizing him. So to give you an example, that I had some very, very deep trouble. Okay, and I was sitting and wondering who is going to help me out of this mess that has happened in my life. At that time, I did not know whom to approach. Then it is just by accident that I rang up a Rotary friend for some Rotary work. And that friend said, you don't sound your normal self. So I explained to him that, uncle, this is what has happened. He gave me a person who was going to help me out in 5 minutes. And that person within 24 hours sorted out my problem. So, this is where God steps in to, they say, when you are in trouble, you don't feel God is walking with you, but you must understand that God is carrying you. So this is where God exists. It is in that man's form that God came and he carried me through my troubles. Similarly, during this whole lockdown, when 24th March, Narendra Modi announced that it is lockdown, etc., exactly 10 minutes later, I was trying to tell my maid, I will give her double the money, treble the money, but she must come and stay in my house. I can do all jhadu, katka, everything, but I can't cook to save my life. Okay. So I was so distressed that who the hell is going to cook for me now till 15th of April, 3 times a day? What am I going to do? But 25th morning, one lady who stays in my building, who's my mother's best friend, she rang up and she told me at 8 o'clock on 25th March, Sangeeta, मुझे पता है तू खाना बनाएगी तो suicide कर लेगी. तो suicide करने का जरूरत नहीं है. We will be sending you breakfast, lunch and dinner till the lockdown opens. And till 30th of June, I had breakfast, lunch and dinner, 7-star quality at home at fixed timings. It was better than ever in my life. So this is God. God knows that Sangeeta is not going to cook to save her own life also. So he comes in the form of this auntie. It is our problem that we don't recognize God. God exists. He is there all the while. Dr. Shri Sheth is one God sitting right in front of me. He is no less than God for me because I was in one very personal mess of my life. And I can tell all right in front of him, he was in London with me. He did the counseling that he did, the life lessons that he taught me in that one hotel in London for one evening is actually very, very important in shaping my life. So he is the God. God came in his form to give me the correct advice. And, you know, so God exists. We don't recognize him. He's always around us. This is what I have to say.
But I too had a similar experience during the lockdown because my neighbors saw that Rajesh and myself are all the time running out. Right from the lockdown till 20th of June, they fed both of us. I love cooking, but they knew that I don't have time. So this is how miracles do happen. And maybe God is there to help us out.
Yes, God is surely there to help you out. Yes. And whoever helped you at that time is God in coming in that form. We have to recognize him.
Sangeeta, you are absolutely right. I can go on and give you any number of examples where the God has come in different forms. And at times even it has come in a form of animal to help you out, you know. And I perfectly agree with you. Absolutely, you are right.
You know, Dr. Usha Saraiya is also here, I think. Okay, she's there on the group. Madam, are you there? So there was one point of time in life when I also was in very, very depressed for 6 months and I did not know what to do with myself. But at the same time, so I met Madam and Madam said, you come and work with me. I can assure you, I was only a nuisance to her maybe because I did not have my head on my shoulders. I didn't know what I was doing, but Madam was so kind, so considerate. And in those, during her OPDs and all, she would guess my mood and she would give me pearls of wisdom. And within 6 months, of course, things changed and then I had to leave and then I went back to London. But at, you know, she was there that 4 hours in her consulting room. It was as if God is holding there and giving me all those advice, which I need to listen from different sources to be able to understand what to do with myself. So that is where God comes. You know, he is there in some form and I very strongly believe he exists. And the biggest God, of course, for me has been my father, but that is a different story. I will not talk about that. So he is the one who convinced me that the God exists because whatever you want from God, I got from my father. So my father is my God. Simple.
I agree, Sangeeta. Even I have number of experiences where I know that God is helping. He's there, not coming in actual form, but sending somebody to your help and your problems are sorted out. Many times it has happened.
Yeah, Bhumika wants to make a comment. Bhumika, go on.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you, Dr. Neena. That was a very good presentation. I just want to understand that during the course of the presentation, you mentioned that, you know, that Ravana was cursed, and he would, you know, that if he tries to rape anybody, his head will be whatever, broken into fragments. So how could he rape other, you know, sages' wives and everybody, and not her?
So the whatever raping were done by Ravan earlier, that was his bad things, and the last raping which he did, and it was Rambha who cursed him that if he rapes anyone unwillingly, then his head would be shattered into 1,000 pieces.
Okay, so that was a subsequent one.
Correct.
Okay.
That was the subsequent one.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
And you made a comment that Ravan wouldn't be killed by any human being.
Correct. So a boon was gifted to him by Brahma when
he was ultimately killed by Ram.
Because he never thought that human could be powerful enough to kill him. So he sought a boon that not to be killed by Kinnar, not even by Kinnar, not Gandharvas, not a demon or gods, except human being, because he thought human beings are powerless. They don't have any power to kill a strong person like Ravan. And that you know, he forgot that even a small person or a human being which he thought is not so powerful can kill him. So that is the learning we should learn, that treat everyone as, you know, don't underestimate anyone.
Nina, if you could put your last slide on the group later on.
Now, sir, yeah, you put the last. Now, sir, now it's time for you to speak, because we have to finish in 1 hour. We are already extending.
No, I think it's lovely to listen to about Lord Rama, and one has to believe in God. There are very, very few people whom we say Nastik or they don't believe, but certainly that is to be segregated, and one must have a God in most or all the things that we do and depend on him. And you will, as a rule by our religion, and if you look at the things that have happened, you will certainly go on a right track rather than doing a sin or something that's undesirable. So I do entirely agree, appreciate what you have talked about Rama, and I go, see, one thing is I was asked abroad once a question that you have so many gods in India. So I very politely said, Sangeeta, you know the answer, but I politely said, you know, because India has such a large population, so we require many gods. But I firmly believe in Lord Satyanarayan, go to his temple at least once a month. In my whole life, there is not a month when I have not gone to a temple religiously. And I think we must have Ram or Krishna or Satyanarayan or whatever, but one great God, and so that you really do not something wrong, but you usually remain on the right track or feel that this is not to be done and get it omitted. Even if there are good returns, it does not matter. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. So I think I don't think there are any more comments. Sir's comments were the closing comments for the session. I think Dr. Laila Dave, you are raising your finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Reading, I mean, going through Ramayana and all, how can we analyze Ram's character as regards to Sita? He abandoned her on the words of the Dhobi. So what do you think? Why Ram did that? Was it right towards the lady who was pregnant?
Now this question is for whom?
Anybody answer. Why this part has not been clarified anywhere?
Okay, so you know, Dr. Laila Dave, I have read an answer to that question somewhere. Okay, but very honestly, I can't remember the answer why that was done. there is a whole explanation to that whole thing. Okay, if I do get it, I will share it in the group and I will share it with you personally. But offhand, I can't remember. Sandhya, are you representing Valmiki?
Yes. No, I'm not representing, but I can answer this a bit because this is always been a matter of controversy, that being a Maryada Purushottam, how can he abandon his wife? What kind of a lesson? But we have to understand one thing, that he has to give even God has to give a balanced view of everything. The social structure, the fabric, religion, everything, the moral values have to be upheld. It is not a question. He knew where he was standing. He knew his wife was right. He understood the whole thing. But at that point of time, since there was so much anarchy, if God himself does not, uphold the social fabric of that time, then it becomes questionable for him. So I think that is the reason why he took this step. But there is definitely a lot of controversy, and there are always, how can you, this thing, pardon him for that?
Sandhya, you are right.
Yeah, actually, she is quite right, because now I'm remembering, I think the explanation was like this, that, as a husband, he knew she is not wrong, and he would have, that is why rescued her and brought
As
her.
a king, he had to do it.
The Agni Pariksha was also taken.
As a king, he had to do what was right for the as a king. The king supersedes the husband. So that is why, as king, it was important to keep the Praja happy, to listen to the views of the Praja, and they wanted him to, they did not want him to accept a wife who has been with somebody else, irrespective of what happened.
Sangeeta,
so he had to take.
Sangeeta, I wish our politicians thought like that.
Well, it was just like a democratic society where today also, if a common man can even go to the Supreme Court and questions even the smallest of the matter. So it was a great thing by Ram, that he wanted to prove to the world that he is no different than even a common man in those eras. It was a great step and a great teaching he had given at that particular point of time.
He sacrificed his family life for the sake of his Praja, for his kingdom. Okay.
What a sacrifice.
Don't agree.
Okay, so I think now I'm very happy to announce that Sandhya is going to do the next meeting on next Wednesday, 5:30, and she'll talk about her topic. You want to announce your topic, Sandhya, just now?
Yes, it's good. It's going to be a very different kind of a topic, the murky side of music. We have a lot of music lovers in this group, and I'm sure we'll be very interested to hear about the murky side of music.
Yeah, so the next one on the 2nd of December is Sandhya. Then on 9th, we have Bhumika. She is also here. She also has a very excellent topic, totally out of the box. And 16th, I am trying to I'm waiting for the reply from one person. And then 23rd, we have our rocking Dr. Sashikant Kamath and his wife Vinita Kamath. So we are having going to have great meetings in December, and see you next Wednesday 5:30. Until then, goodbye, Shabba Khair.
Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you, everyone.
Jai Shri Ram.
So I'll close the meeting if you all permit.
Yeah. Yes, Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Let's be political.